Good morning, everyone, or midday, late morning. For some of you, afternoon, even though we're still in the AM time frame. I know some people who eat lunch at 11 a.m. It is 11 a.m., which means it is time for Weather Impact Live. I'm meteorologist Lee Southwick, joining you on this somewhat dreary Saturday, at least to start. Here's a look around the first coast, and you can see, not the nicest of conditions. So coming up today on Weather Impact Live, we're going to talk about the forecast, obviously. When do we get rid of these misty, gross conditions? And then we're going to have Malcolm Minute, which is my favorite part of our Saturday morning newscast. And then we're going to talk more about that Artemis update. Yeah, have you heard that Artemis II is now not going to land on the moon, but we're also going to have a lot more Artemis launches. Lots to get caught up with there. Okay, so let's start now with our forecast because it is gray and dreary. And for some of you, you're still sitting in foggy conditions. St. Augustine, I'm looking at you. You've had 1/4 mile of visibility all morning long. Palm Coast, you're down to 2 miles still. Everyone else, though, getting a lot better out there, but it's still cloudy. We have low cloud cover, and so it's misty. And you can see that there are some showers that are drizzles, really, that are moving across portions of the first coast. So these showers just moved St. Augustine, really kind of north Volcano Beach. So St. Johns County, a little bit through Duval County as well. This is a time lapse over the past hour. Now, besides those actual drizzles, some of you still feeling the mist. And so even if it doesn't show rain directly over you and you're driving, you might still have to turn on the windshield wipers because of that mist out there. Temperatures have stayed cool. Let me not jump ahead. Back to the temperatures. There we go. So all morning, we really stayed in the 50s. Finally now, we are moving into the 60s in some spots, and others of you will be there shortly, like Fernandina Beach, St. Simon's Island, Palm Coast, Palatka. You're right at 59 degrees. So you will shortly be in the 60s. And then we're going to continue to climb through the 60s, and highs today will move into the middle and upper 60s for a lot of us. But today, the forecast is not one number fits all. So along our beaches, we are not warming up much from where we are sitting right now. Your highs will be staying in the lower 60s. Expect a gloomier, cooler day along the beaches. And then as you work your way inland, temperatures do start to tick up. So we're getting into the middle 60s, even the upper 60s inland. And yes, a spot or two could touch 70, maybe 71 degrees for your high, but that would only be temporarily. So remember, even if it shows you a high of 71 degrees, Keystone Heights, Waycross, you'll likely be in the 60s for most of the afternoon. So if you're about to head out the door for the day, dress for the 60s because it means most of the time we'll be in the 60s and just temporarily touch 70 or 71 degrees. Now, lots of events going on today. So for the Scottish Highland Games, they're getting up to right around 70 temporarily, but there will be a cool breeze. World of Nations is going on. It's already a great time out there right now. And again, we'll continue to see conditions get a bit better later on in the day. By the end of the day, still mostly cloudy, but not that low cloud cover, I don't think. I think that should kind of lift and clear throughout the day. Then Sunday, pick of the weekend, that's the better day. So tomorrow morning, we're starting off in the 50s for most of us, but some of you could actually drop down into the 40s. So a little bit of a chillier start for our Sunday. But then in the afternoon hours, we're going to get up into the 70s. Mostly sunny skies, a beautiful day. Once again, like today, it's not one number fits all. I mean, every day it's not one number fits all. The beaches are always usually cooler in the afternoon and warmer in the mornings. That's just physics and water and just when there's more water in the atmosphere, you're nearby water. Water is slower to heat up and slower to cool down, so it's a bit more moderated. You kind of sit in like a warmer mornings and cooler afternoons. Generally speaking, that's how it works. So with that said, tomorrow afternoon, highs likely only staying in the 60s along the beaches, but getting well into the 70s the farther inland you go. And I always like to point this out because I could imagine if I was sitting in Lake City and it's 76 degrees and mostly sunny, beautiful day, let's head to the beaches. And then you get to the beaches and you're like, it's a little chilly. Well, maybe you don't think it's chilly. I think sitting on the beach in Fernandina at 66 degrees. I would want a light jacket personally, but just don't be surprised when you get that temperature drop as you drive out to the beaches. Normally this time of year, right around 72 degrees at the airport. So technically speaking, 74, warmer than normal. And it's just a sign of that warm up that we'll continue to have for the work week. Tomorrow is the first day of March, which is the first day of meteorological spring. Today is the last day of meteorological winter. Woohoo! Malcolm back there cheering too. Don't forget to talk to him too coming up here in a little bit. Whoop whoop. He just said whoop whoop. And so Monday, 75 degrees, warmer inland, cooler at the beaches. I think the beaches again will stay in the 60s. Now for our winds, you see there it says cool breeze. Winds coming out of the northeast, 10 to 20 miles an hour. I think these winds will be onshore winds. So they're moving from the Atlantic onto our beaches. They're going to kind of bring some moisture into our forecast. And so we will have some rain chances at the beaches over the coming work week. So again, today, that rain kind of tapering off as we head into the afternoon hours. We're dry tomorrow, then rain chances bump up just a little bit on Monday, and then we'll stay there through the work week for isolated coastal showers. It's mainly our beaches that we'll be watching for. Now, I am seeing some signs that on Wednesday, some of those onshore showers could work their way inland a little bit more. And so we have rain chances at 30% on Wednesday, because maybe a little bit more of us seeing some of that rain, maybe it works its way in a bit more. But all things considered, 10 to 30%, not enough to be a drought buster, but at least for coastal areas, you will be receiving that rain. And up and down our coast here in Northeast Florida, we are all under extreme drought conditions. And inland too. Now, most of us are under extreme drought conditions. And the orange, it's not much better. Severe drought conditions. You've heard us talk about the drought so much. It's because it's so important rain is so important. We had some rain. It was not enough, obviously, to be a drought buster. We'll take any rain we can get. So at least for coastal areas, looks like a bit of relief is coming here in the next 7 days. Something else I want to quickly talk about, because it is the start of spring tomorrow, and we will spring forward the weekend after that. So tomorrow, our sunrise is at 6:52 a.m., and by next Sunday, sunrise will be at 7:44 a.m. So close to that 8 a.m. hour. That is a late sunrise. For the rest of March, though, our sunrise times will get earlier again. 7:44 a.m. is such a late sunrise. On the other hand, our sunsets are getting later. I am really excited about this, at least. So tomorrow, our sunset is at 6:25 p.m. By next Sunday, our sunset will be at 7:30 p.m. So moving into that 7 o'clock hour. Both sides, 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. That's where our times will be for sunrises and sunsets. So yes, daylight saving time begins at 2 a.m. on March 8th, which is next Sunday. So not this weekend. We're not springing forward this weekend. It's just next weekend. But I kind of wanted to give you that comparison with tomorrow's sunrise and sunset times versus next Sunday's sunrise and sunset times. All right, we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is time to do Malcolm Minute. Let's do it. All right, we'll see you on the other side of this break.
The First Coast News Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Have the umbrella in the back seat, the rain jacket ready to go.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
Let's get some breaking news we've been following overnight.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. First Coast News Plus, complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
For 15 years, I've lived and breathed Jacksonville weather here at First Coast News. From stepping out in the midst of hurricanes to just delivering your daily forecast, I take it seriously because weather can impact your safety, but it also impacts your everyday life. So my job is to make it easy to understand so that you're prepared. I'm Lewis Turner, and as Chief Meteorologist here at First Coast News, it is my honor to be on your side.
Get your latest forecast on First Coast News Plus. A On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with First Coast News and First Coast News Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage with First Coast News and First Coast News Plus.
Whatever you want. All right, we are back. The seat next to me is empty. I love the suspense that we're building. He's on the way! Malcolm. Yeah! Okay, so if you were with us last Saturday, you just heard Malcolm's voice in the background. We decided to call you, web expert, right?
Yeah,
is that your title?
That's good.
He's
And
the
it fits
web-
with the Spider-Man.
I love it. I love it.
Beanie.
Is Spider-Man your favorite superhero?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Definitely.
I like Iron Man personally, but I like Spider-Man.
Sorry what they did to him.
Oh, I heard he's coming back.
Yeah. Little teaser.
Not to spoil anything.
Right.
But I thought, why not just, the people want to see your face.
Right, yep.
Instead of just like the voice hovering in the background. So I'm glad we get to do this. We just ended right before the break talking about sunrise and sunset times.
Yep.
So how do you feel? Because everyone is so passionate about one way or the other. Do you like the change, the springing forward? I know we lose an hour of sleep. We get a later sunset, but a much later sunrise. What do you prefer?
I prefer I definitely like the sun setting later on. Like, I don't know. Like, it's always an adjustment, obviously, for everyone when,
Right.
the time springs forward or, like, goes back. But I like it when it springs forward because it's a later sunset, but I don't like it feeling like I just barely got any sleep. So
Right.
if I had to choose like one or the other, I would choose it like going forward, like, and it just staying like that just year round.
I
Just like
agree.
the longer, just feel like the day is longer, obviously with the sunset being pushed back the time. So
And sometimes when people say that, they're like, "Oh, well, then you obviously don't wake up early." But like, you work mornings,
Right, exactly.
So saying it from you work mornings, and you still would like a later
Yeah.
sunset. I think that's saying something,
right, exactly. And yeah. It's like give or take with like I guess depending on your schedule and everything, but like, yeah,
Right.
you bring up a good point. Like I'm already here by the time before the sun even rises, so it's not like that impactful to me.
Let's actually just fully introduce you now that people have
Mhm.
know what you look like. They've known what you sounded like for a long time. We just say web expert, but you're talking about when you come into work. So how about you tell everyone what you do day to day, your hours normally, and how much you help us here on these streams. Plus, not
Yeah.
only streaming, you do a lot. So why don't you tell everyone?
Yeah, just running the ones and twos on the stream. Just not all the weather streams that we do, but a good amount. Just like running everything digitally, like writing up articles for the website that you guys might have read before. Just reaching out to contacts when there's like breaking news and we need information, just reaching out to them. Just pretty much handling everything social media, just running our pages, helping run our pages. And yeah, just everything on the digital interweb. That's me.
So when you post a web story, is the author, is it your name, or does it say like First Coast News team or something?
Oh
like
yeah,
that?
it'll say my name most of the times. Sometimes
look
it'll
out
say
for his
staff.
name.
Yeah, sometimes it'll say staff if it's just like not like a really like just like a I guess developing story. And it's
Okay.
like most all of us on the digital team will like update. But yeah, most of my stories they have my name on it. So yeah, feel
We
free to read anytime.
Yes, look out for him. We have had a lot of wild weather stories here on the
Yeah,
First Coast. Hurricanes, tornadoes. We got this drought right now. We got flooding. What's one
Mm.
of your most memorable weather experiences here at First Coast News?
Most memorable would have to be. I would think the first last year snow event that we
That's
got
right.
was it in
Yes.
January?
Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
January, yes, 2025. Just because that was like I never seen snow and I was just like so pumped up to see it and I never got to see it then, but I just remember like the build up to it all, just my
Oh.
excitement level and just like I don't know, I just never thought that and it was like so much time that passed between then and like I think the last time before then was like in the 1980s or
Yes, like we
89 or
got like
something.
real like meaningful snowfall
Right.
here.
So
Yeah.
that was just exciting to me and just like the build up, like I said, just, like, are we going to see any? And I know we got like like 1/10 of an inch. But I was like, hey, anything is anything,
take
and
it.
just hearing about just the bridges freezing over and everything.
yeah,
Just
that
I thought that was pretty
bad.
crazy. But outside of that, obviously can't forget like our hurricanes that have impacted us just over the
Oh,
last few
man.
years. Just like going in all hands on deck with that.
Yeah.
Just like on the website, just like make sure that everyone has like all their resources, just like kits, and just making sure that community is just like informed with everything going on, whether it's closures or just like the resources that everyone needs.
That's the thing. Yeah,
Just
you guys put out so many extra web stories when we have a
yeah.
severe weather event, like when it comes to shelters, or like you said, like
Right.
what should be in your kit, or
Mhm.
even just like evacuation zones. What is your
Yeah,
zone? What does that
exactly. Yeah.
mean?
Right. No, you're exactly right. And just like yeah, you pretty much said it all. Just
Sorry,
like
I just like took it all from
no,
you.
no, you're okay. But
Or like what bridges are closing and which ones
yeah.
are still open.
Exactly, yeah, and just where shelters, closures, what bridges are open, what bridges are closed, just like even places that are open, like to eat, because they're
Yeah.
not even,
Oh, that's so important,
yeah,
especially
for
when
sure.
the power goes out too, when
Exactly,
you're like,
power outages.
oh my gosh,
I
that's right. You
list
got to report on
those.
the numbers, like who's how. What do you do? Like you usually do like a county by county thing
Yeah,
too, so you really break it down for everyone.
exactly. Yep.
It's a
So
lot of work,
yeah,
guys.
but it's all to just keep you guys informed and just prepared, and yeah, just ready at all times, really. Just
FirstCoastNews.com, First Coast
yes.
News Plus. I mean, obviously, you're streaming us right now. You know that.
Mhm.
So, like as you said, you're not the only one who does all of this stuff.
No,
And
not
we've
at all.
had on other streams Tate also his
Yes.
voice in the background. So Tate does what he does too. They're on the same team. I mean, we're all on the same team. You know,
Mm.
little pocket of the newsroom. They sit right directly in the middle, like right
Right
dab in the middle of the
the
newsroom.
nervous system
'Cause
central.
exactly. That's how you know they're
central.
important, when they are there in the middle, whether we're like tucked off in a corner. But we like it because we're by the windows. So
Yeah,
we
get
gotta
to
look out the
see-
window and see the
right.
weather.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Malcolm, thank you so much. Anything
Thank
else you
you.
want to say before?
No, just hope you guys be safe. I know there's a lot of events going on this
Yes.
weekend, just World of Nations and Scottish games, and even if you're going to the
Fun
beach.
stuff. There's like
just
an
a lot of
auto
stuff.
show going on at the
really?
convention center.
Oh,
Because the
nice.
Humane Society is going to be there. When they came on our show today, they
Oh,
talked
okay.
about how they're going to be out there too. So yeah, lots of fun things.
Yeah,
And if you guys
exactly.
liked this little talk back, because you guys don't want to see me talking at you for 30 minutes, right? Please let us know that you want more Malcolm Minute, because I love it. I love
Yeah,
having
I love it too.
friendship and conversation. So
Absolutely.
and yeah, and you can just, if you are we streaming right now on Facebook?
Yes.
So you have to ask him, like he does all of this.
Yes.
So if we're on Facebook and YouTube, leave a comment if you liked it. And then I guess it's good if we go take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about Artemis and all the big updates. See, he's got to get up and go back, and he's going to actually roll the break and do all of that for us. So we will be right back. And then when we come back, we're going to give you an update here from the team there at NASA and give you an update on Artemis. And then we'll do one last overview of our forecast in case you missed the top of the show. We'll hit that forecast again at the end. So see you on the other side of the break.
The First Coast News Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Have the umbrella in the back seat, the rain jacket ready to go.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
Let's get some breaking news we've been following overnight.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. First Coast News Plus, complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
For 15 years, I've lived and breathed Jacksonville weather here at First Coast News. From stepping out in the midst of hurricanes to just delivering your daily forecast, I take it seriously. Because weather can impact your safety, but it also impacts your everyday life. So my job is to make it easy to understand so that you're prepared. I'm Lewis Turner, and as Chief Meteorologist here at First Coast News, it is my honor to be on your side.
Get your latest forecast on First Coast News Plus. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with First Coast News and First Coast News Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage with First Coast News and First Coast News Plus.
All right, welcome back. So you've heard us talking about Artemis a lot, the mission. Robert Speta has been down to the Cape getting these updates for us, keeping a close eye on it, because when it launches, we really wanted to bring it to you live, and we will. We still plan to. We're going to bring it to you live. It's a really important mission to the moon. They're going to circle around the moon, and people are on board this time. So Artemis 1, no one was on board. Now we actually have astronauts aboard, and they're going to be doing a lot of science experiments, a lot of things that will really help us understand how life is in outer space. The whole
Today
Artemis
we're
mission
announcing a
is not only.
standardization of the
Oh,
SLS fleet.
no, you're good. I think I told you it was VO and it's SOT, so that's my bad. I told him the wrong thing. We are going to hear that information from him coming up here in a minute. But just to let you guys know, just a reminder that Artemis is going to the moon, but the ultimate goal is to go to Mars. That is what this whole mission is about, to get people to Mars. So on Friday, NASA announced a course correction to its Artemis Back to the Moon program. And it was during a news conference that you'll hear from shortly. The NASA administrator, Jared Isaacman, said the agency will add missions and will aim to reduce the amount of time between launches. So currently the agency's launch cadence is once every 3 years, but he hopes to get it down to one launch every 10 months. So remember, we're gonna have a lot more launches now. That was a big update, that we're gonna have a lot more launches, and hopefully in between. So hopefully only one every 10 months. And so the goal now is for a moon landing attempt in 2028. Isaacman said that will start by streamlining the manufacturing process and increasing the size of the workforce. So let's take a listen in now from him.
Today we're announcing a standardization of the SLS fleet to what we'll call essentially a near Block 1 configuration. So the idea is we want to reduce complexity to the greatest extent possible. We want to accelerate manufacturing, pull in the hardware, and increase launch rate, which obviously has a direct safety consideration to it as well. You get into a good rhythm, launching great frequency, you get that muscle memory. In order to do that, we need to rebuild and strengthen the workforce here at NASA. Now, this is directly in line with a workforce directive that I released several weeks ago. We have to rebuild core competencies. The ability to turn around our launch pads and launch with frequency greater than every 3 years is imperative. Where we're going to endeavor to get our launches inside of a year, specifically down to potentially 10 months. And then we are going to add missions. In fact, we're essentially going to pull in Artemis II to launch in 2027 with a revised mission profile. So instead of going directly to a lunar landing, we will endeavor to rendezvous in low Earth orbit with one or both of our lunar landers, test out integrated operations between Orion and the landers, ECLSS systems, even to the extent possible, if we can get up development components of our XEVA suits to test out vehicle interfaces, even just getting an astronaut in a suit in microgravity, we can learn a lot with the idea that we should be learning, and take this information back to inform hardware development, whether it's in the landers or in the suits before Artemis IV, where we will attempt to land on the moon. We are also, as a component of the strategy, endeavoring to preserve up to 2 landing attempts in 2028. So if we get it inside of the 10-month turnaround time that we would like to see, Artemis II will launch on its historic mission in the weeks ahead. Artemis III will have its opportunity, if we can, by mid-2027, which sets us up for an early 28 and a late 28 opportunity. Today, we're announcing a standardization of.
Alrighty, so lots of things to pay attention to look forward to, and you know that we're going to keep a close eye on all of it and bring you all of those updates as we get them. But we're still hoping for that Artemis II launch with the astronauts aboard in early April. So we will stream that to you live when that happens. All right, we have just a few minutes left here, so we're going to do another quick overview of the forecast in case you missed it at the top of the show. It is still gray out there right now. We've got a good bit of cloud cover out there. And we had fog earlier this morning. Now, most of us are doing better, including finally St. Augustine. Now your visibility is up to 3 miles. So finally, that quarter mile of visibility has cleared. Check out your satellite. That is a lot of cloud cover out there. It's gross. Honestly, just gross, dreary, cloudy start to the day. I think it's going to stay mostly cloudy today. You can see there's a few little drizzles that try to pass over every once in a while. Still some mist out there, but mainly as we head into these afternoon hours, it's just going to be a cooler and cloudy day. Temperatures sitting in the 60s now for a lot more of us. Fernandina, St. Simons Island, Brunswick, Jacksonville Airport, Keystone Heights, and Palatka, all in the 60s. Everyone else in the 50s, but you will be in the 60s shortly. So our highs today are getting up into the 60s. Now, as we already talked about, it's not one number fits all. Those of you at the beaches, you're not going to warm up too much. You're going to stay in the lower 60s generally for your highs. Then we climb through the 60s for inland spots. And yes, maybe one or two of you touching 70 degrees temporarily, but pretty much just plan for 60s all afternoon. So just a cooler day. We talked about a lot of the events going on. So the Scottish Highland Games getting up into the upper 60s, mainly still cloudy out there. Same for World of Nations. It's going to be cloudy this afternoon. Tomorrow, if you go out there though, look at that, more sunshine. So tomorrow morning, starting off in the 40s and the 50s. And then tomorrow afternoon, we are getting into the 70s with mostly sunny skies. So if you need the sunshine, it is on the way for Sunday. And that's going to allow a lot more of us to warm up into the 70s. Now for the beaches on Sunday, I do think we're going to be staying in the 60s, just a heads up. Same story on Monday, 60s at the beaches, but 70s inland. Now winds coming out of the northeast, 10 to 20 miles an hour, going to be a little bit of a cooler breeze, but it'll also bring more moisture to the beaches. So coastal showers are likely at times next week. So you can see rain chances are in the forecast Monday through Friday, not a lot. It's mainly again for the beaches, for coastal areas that will see that rain activity. So that's promising for the beaches. Of course, we do need the rain inland because we're still under those drought-like conditions. So we're going to watch it closely for you. The other thing is that we will be warming up. So today is the coolest day. Don't forget your long sleeves if you get chilly in the 60s like me. And then we'll be warming through the 70s and we'll be back in the 80s by the end of the work week. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me on this Saturday. Have a great rest of your weekend.